So, you've finally been blessed with double man-eaters by the gods of Raid Shadow Legends, and you're trying to find out which is the best team you can build with the gear that you have. I was in your shoes a couple of weeks ago, and I was kind of confused which double man-eater team was the best for me. I was seeing some that required crazy amount of gear, some that requires champions I didn't have, and some that needed champions that I did have, but I was not sure which one was the best one to build. Let me take you through this video and show you how I came about the decision to build this team that is the easiest double man-eater team any new player who is building one of these unkillable teams for the first time can build. Let's get right into the video. Alright, before we go any further, big shout out to Deadwood Jedi. Everything I'm going to be talking about in this video is resources that he has provided, which you can go to his website deadwoodjedi.com to find out by yourself. But when you have a lot of information out there about double man-eater teams, it's kind of confusing which one to choose. I can't tell you how long my man-eaters sat there in my inventory, all built, all fully mastered, double man-eaters, and never got built. I was still using the budget unkillable team that required Painkeeper. Now, when I finally decided to build it, because I was tired of affinity changes and all that, here's how I made up my decision about this team that I wanted to build. So if you head over to the Deadwood Jedi website, and I'll show you the one I'm talking about, it's called Easy Double Man-Eater. This is the one I chose to build. So the first thing that drew me to this team was the amount of speed that I needed to build this team. Less gear, that's what it meant for me. Less gear usually means less damage for you, but it means if you can put this amount of speed in your man-eaters, that means you can put the rest of the stats into crit rate, crit damage, and all that. That's what it's just meant for me, because if I did the double man-eater team, like double man-eater team that required a seeker, that would take you to a higher speed and all that. So this double man-eater team, what is unique about it, if you do not know that, it just takes 2 man-eaters and 3 DPS. So these are the speed for the 2 man-eaters, 220 and 215, and your other champions that you bring for damage can be 173 to 178. So it does have a range, so it doesn't restrict you to say, hey, you must use 174, oh, hey, you must use 175. It doesn't restrict you like that. That's what I really love about this DPS builds. Of course, one of your DPS must be 168 just to make everything balanced. So it's not like that person is a stun target. No, there's no stun target here, because remember, man-eater team puts that unkillable the entire time, and that blocks stun. So before we go any further, I'll show you how I built the team, and then finally show you the team in battle, show you an example of how it runs, and then I'll give you some tips and tricks, some pros and cons about these teams. Or let me even start with the pros and cons first, so you know what you're stepping into before you begin to spend gear and spend silver on building it. So the first thing I want to inform you about this team is that it is a 2-key Ultra Nightmare team. 2-key Ultra Nightmare team. Why I say 2-key is that most players will not be able to have the gear required to make it a 1-key Ultra Nightmare team. Most players will not be able to have the champions, Geomancer, those MVP, Fane. Everybody has Fane now. Or what did it call it? The champion that makes sure that the buffs stay up the entire time. Vizier. There are many champions that just Farrakhan the Fat. Those key champions that without them you do a 2-key. But if you have them in your team, they'll just go crazy and you do a 1-key. So it's not champion specific. You can use a Razin, you can use a War Maiden, you can use a what do you call it now? Spirit, no, Frozen Banshee as a poisoner. Any champion goes at DPS. These 2 man-eaters are just the main champions. So another thing that drew me to this team was that I didn't need to build Seeker. I did have a Seeker, but the fact that I had to build a Seeker, a man-eater, another man-eater, a Painkeeper, just to keep the entire team alive, and then 1 DPS, I didn't like that thing. I know that sounds like the Bat Eater comp, but I didn't like the fact that I was building 4 champions and 1 DPS. But this one allowed me to build only 2 man-eaters to keep the team alive, and then 3 DPS. So if you know champions that can do DPS, crazy amount of DPS, put them in these 3 slots and you go crazy. So that's what, another reason why I didn't want to go for the other one, besides the fact that it required high number of gear, because the Maneater takes 2 turns before the Clan Boss takes a turn, I guess. So another good thing about this team, like all double Maneater teams, it is affinity friendly, 100% affinity friendly. It does require a setup, which I'm going to be talking about soon, but it is affinity friendly like every Maneater team I've seen out there. So less gear requirement, I've already talked about that. You can 1 key if you have the good gear, but you can also 2 key if you don't have good gear. Now the bad part about this setup, this easy double Maneater team, the bad part about it is that it requires setup. Usually think that once you have a double Maneater, you just enter the Clan Boss, you go to the game, hit the battle, and put everything on auto, and you go. Nope, that's not how it works. You still need a setup. If you are new to building teams, a setup means you can't just put the thing on auto. You must be on manual the first time you're going into the battle and use specific abilities listed here that tells you when to use your A1, when to use your A2, and all that. So you must follow this setup for Ultra Nightmare, follow this setup for Nightmare, and follow this setup for Brutal. Yes, it works on all the 3 levels, those 3 difficulties of the Clan Boss: Brutal, Nightmare, and Ultra Nightmare. You don't have to switch out any gear, you don't have to switch out any champions. It just works like that. But the problem I had with it is, for the first week, I had to leave this Deadwood's Jedi page open on my system because I couldn't remember the setup. Whenever I open Clan Boss, I have to come and check. Oh, all right, A3 on count 1. I have to wait till it's count 1 before I use A3. Then A3 on count 4. So I had to memorize this one every day for like a week or 2 until I finally got it and it's stuck in my brain, which abilities goes first, which Maneater goes second, and all that. So right now I can close Deadwood's Jedi's page and go to my Clan Boss and do the run, do the setup without checking these instructions. If you're not sure you can remember it, you can just copy it and put it on a notepad on the corner of your screen and always refer to it when you want to do the run. So that's if you successfully build it, though. If you experience any problem with building these teams, I'm always available on Discord. So for you to jump into our Discord, I'll put a link. The link is always in every bottom of my videos to join the Discord and ask any questions if you cannot get help directly from Deadwood Jedi's Discord or from your clan members' Discord. I'm always willing to assist you with that. So that's the one bad part I think about this whole setup thing. Most double Maneater teams I've seen, maybe the Bat Eater, they don't need a setup. They just click run and go. So let's head over to the run now because it might be a longer video. Let's not drag it on any further. Before I show you my masteries, my all that, let me just do the run immediately and let's see how I do the setup since we are currently on the subject. So if I go to my team setup for this double Maneater team, you can see that I did not lock out any skills for the double Maneater. No skills are locked out. But Vizier, because I only need him to do his A1, had locked out his other skills. Finn, I needed that to do this skill at the first turn, of course, because he's a how do you call it? He's an opening skill. So I needed her to use this one first before she uses her poison. And Skull Crusher is just there for counter attack. I'm definitely going to be replacing Skull Crusher here with a better champion. You agree with me that his role in this team is kind of not that great, but he's not the best champion. I just used him as a placeholder because he was the one that was I think at that right speed that I needed. So did I just start the run? Oh shit, I wanted to turn off the auto, but I guess I have to turn it off manually now before they take a turn. So currently I'm running it on Ultra Nightmare. Let me show you the setup for Ultra Nightmare. Turn off. Okay. So the setup for Ultra Nightmare, Maneater goes with his A2. The first Maneater, that's the fastest Maneater. The second one goes with its A2 too. I'm following the instructions over here. And then I'm waiting for turn count 1 before this first Maneater can do his A3. So that's what I'm watching out for. Everybody else can do their normal skill. The only people you are doing setups for is the Maneaters. So that's one thing you should know. So even if on negative affinity, it might take me a few tries to land this decreased defense and weaken on Feign. If you do have a void champion that can do it better, but Feign is my champion for decreased defense and weaken. So it might take her a few tries to finally land both of those debuff. She landed only weaken this time. So this other Maneater will do is with A1. So it's only on turn count 6 that this run can go on auto. On Ultra Nightmare, it's turn count 5 that this run goes on auto. But on Brutal, it is turn count 8 that this run can go on auto. So it still requires me to sit here clicking a little bit, but hey, as long as it's affinity friendly, I guess it's not that bad. So Feign is not even landing her poison right now because she's negative affinity against this magic boss. But guess what? We're still going to hit our 2 key mark. Whether it's negative affinity or not, it doesn't really matter. Because you agree with me that they are also doing raw damage, right? Raw damage might not be enough. You still need the poisons. But she's not going to land her weaken all the time. You know, there's a chance that we will land that decreased defense the next time we use it. So I'm looking forward to that. Once I get my abilities on, we'll fast forward this run to the end. So you see the final damage that we can do to this boss. So this is turn count 3. Not yet. It says turn count 4 before I can use my A3 on the second Maneater. So I'm keeping it, not yet, till it says turn count 4 before I can use it. A1 on Skull Crusher. If you make your Feign so squishy, she will die. See how low she got? Because there was no decreased attack. Damn, this run might have failed. So careful not to make your Feign so squishy that she can't survive this initial first setup. Because she should have enough, defense or enough HP to at least survive these hits before the unkillable becomes available all the time. So my Feign is not in lifesteal either, so she might not be able to keep herself alive by regenerating her health. So see, not in lifesteal. But hey, at least we still have a few turns to go before she can survive. Hopefully the clan boss does not just knock her out. We usually land decreased attack by now. I guess that's why the clan boss was hitting us so hard. So turn count 5. The next turn I'll take a turn for Feign is, only for my Maneaters, is turn count 6. So after 4, the next one is 6. The second turn on 6, that's the next time. I'll try to still place decreased defense. Yes, I finally got it. So I told you, even on weaken, she does get it. Feign got stunned, but luckily she did survive that hit because she does have some defense. So turn count 6, I won't do the unkillable now. It says second turn on turn count 6. So I have the turn meter right here. I'll wait for the second turn to come around because these Maneaters take 2 turns on these turns before the boss takes a turn. So that's 1 turn. And I'll do my normal skills, and then that same Maneater that just took a turn will still get a second turn before the boss goes. So that's what makes it a setup, I guess, or affinity friendly. This is the second turn. So once I place this unkillable, now I can hit auto and let it go. Yes, Feign is still going to use her A2, but just to make sure, I'll check if her A2 is the next skill that she wants to use. Yes, she will use her A2 the next because I just used the decreased defense skill this time. So I do not have any poisons out there, but hopefully she lands one so Vizier can extend it. Vizier is possible affinity for this battle. She landed the 2 poisons, yes. So Vizier will extend this, waiting for her to still place 2 more poisons. So finally the poison bar, the boss bar will be filled with poisons. Hopefully Skull Crusher does not place his heal reduction and occupies 1 slot. So with this, I'll fast forward this run to the end and wait to see the final damage for this my weak team, and I'll show you their gear that I used to build it to make it 2 key Ultra Nightmare, 1 key Nightmare, and 1 key Brutal. Be right back, guys. All right, as we draw closer to the end of this run, I just thought I'll come back and mention some things you might have noticed during the run. So far, our damage is looking like we are doing 1 million for every ton of the Clan Boss. We are currently at 40 million at ton 46, just because of negative affinity Feign, which she did not land her poisons before the run get to like ton 6 or so, because back then we were still doing our setups. So normally the estimated for this one is 50 million for ton 50. I've also done about 52 or 53 million one time, but if it's a bad affinity, like I'm expecting 45 million or so, and you agree with me, that's enough points for you to make the 2 key for Ultra Nightmare and also do a 1 key for Nightmare, negative affinity Feign or not. I'll also show you my gear to show you other contributing factors to why the damage is this low, so you see what I did with my gear. It's kind of funny. Watch out. So we're waiting for 2 more turns so the Clan Boss can do his big hit and end this run like he usually does. Even if Vizier is negative affinity, let's say in terms of spirit, right? If the spirit boss and then you still have a Vizier in this team, guess what happens? Vizier will still take several turns, maybe miss sometimes, the poison might fall off, Feign will put it back up. What I'm trying to say is, even if it's a negative affinity force against spirit, I still don't take out Vizier, I still let it run, and it still does 45, because the negative affinity doesn't mean he will miss all his extension for like 5-10 turns. No, it just means he might miss it one time, do it the next time, miss it the next time, do it the next time. It still gives him enough chances to add that buff extension. So currently total damage 45, just like expected, so 2 key will give me about 90. So remember, the first champions you see here, Maneater is the only 2 compulsory champions in the team. The rest of the other 3 can be any DPS you can have in your roster. So but watch out, by DPS we still require decreased defense and weaken. Without those 2, you might do less damage. Now, what if you don't have weaken? Maybe with only decreased defense, you might be able to pull up this maybe 35 million or so, 10 million less damage, because weaken is really important for the Ultra Nightmare. So look for a champion that has weaken, look for a champion that has decreased defense, even if you don't find them in the same champion. But I hope by now everybody has Feign to use her in this Clan Boss. Another thing you'll notice about this my setup is that these champions are expendable. What do I mean? They are not being used in any part of the game, maybe except Faction Wars. So I dedicated these 5 champions to Clan Boss, and I don't need to use them in Doom Tower, I don't need to use them in dungeons. Nowhere else are these champions required to be used. What does this mean? I can make their speed so low, I can make their gear anyhow. I don't even use them in arena also. That would be weird to use this low speeds in arena, but I specifically chose champions that I did not need for any other content, not even for the Hydra. So why did I do that? Because my champions for Doom Tower, for the Hydra, for dungeons, they are of higher speeds, they are of higher specifications, so I didn't want to start switching out gear on champions. That's why. I'll give you an example. Brogni. No, is that Brogni? Yes, Brogni is a good example, I guess. A lot of people who do use Brogni for the Clan Boss cannot really use him for other content. They do use him, but I'll tell you that his speed and his stats is not enough for other content. So for other content you need higher resistance, higher accuracy, and for the Clan Boss you need less. So the Clan Boss is no longer the best place to put your best champion into. I also have Lydia. So imagine having a Lydia who has decreased defense and weaken, and restricting her to be doing the work of a decreased defense and weaken champion in the Ultra Nightmare. I don't really buy into that idea. So that's one of the decisions I took while trying to choose champions that I will put in this role. So I decided to stress this one. Let's go into the gear and see what gear they are all rocking. Maybe I'll use RSL Helper for this just to make it easier. Yes, let's use RSL Helper. So the first thing you notice that my Maneaters are fully booked. 11. Everybody is fully booked. So don't bring in fully booked and mastered also. Don't bring in half built champions in here. They'll do less damage. The next thing I'll choose now is this first Maneater. Let's look at the gear, because it shows everything in one page. If you do want to screenshot this, go right ahead. HP total stats, where is it? 39k HP. There is no restriction of who should be higher HP, who should be less HP, like it was for the budget unkillable teams, right? That requires certain person to be a higher HP, low HP. No, any of them can be any HP. Just make sure they don't die in that first time that you're trying to do your setup. So the main thing that is important for this team is the speeds, right? Just like I showed right here. So 220, 215, those two cannot be compromised. Now from my screenshot, you're seeing here that this Maneater is actually 219. Guess what? If you punch this 219 into your what do you call that, Deadwood and Arena calculator, no, not Arena, Clan Boss calculator, right? It will tell you that it's actually 220. So make sure you don't just put a particular number here and think it is. Always use that Deadwood Jedi's Clan Boss calculator to know your real speeds, because you can see here that I have a speed set, and that also counts toward adding like one speed or so to this 219, making me reach the required amount of speed of 220. So it's not always this one that is correct. No, the Deadwood Jedi's Arena calculator will tell you your real speeds actually. Crit rate 91%, crit damage 187%. Now that's what I'm talking about. If you can push your crit damage to 250, good for you. 300, even better for you. Even you can see I didn't even bother hitting 100% crit rate. Accuracy, of course, doesn't really matter for the Maneaters because they're not really landing decreased attack, right? It's not required. So what you should notice also about this build, whether for this Maneater or for the other one, is that I did not try to put crit damage on them. Why? Because I wanted to save my best crit damage gears for my best champions. So I felt like the Clan Boss was a less important, because I've beat it. The Clan Boss was now a less priority content for me. So I didn't want to take the gear that I was supposed to put on Bigon, on Astrolon, on my big hitters, and now give it to a simple Maneater to be doing 250 crit damage, 300 crit damage. No. So you can see my glove right there that is supposed to be a crit damage glove with crit rate substat. I gave it crit rate. So I specifically chose artifacts that I will not use and put it here. I used to have Maneaters as my highest speed. They used to rock like a speed that has 3 rolls, right? Because you needed them high speed. Guess what? I stole all the speeds from them and gave it back to my arbiter who deserves it. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Your build doesn't have to be the best build, because these champions, they'll still be doing their 2 key, 1 key forever. This team might not be revised for a long time, except I'm bored one day I decide to finally rebuild them to the highest maximum damage and reach a 1 key. Right now, my 1 key Ultra Nightmare is not my priority. 2 key is fine for me. So because I do have time in the day to do 2 keys, because we're already in the game playing it, why not just hit that time and let the battle run and go do something else. So that's the first Maneater. It took me a while to explain it, but it's the same thing that applies. That's the masteries. Remember, counter attack is what you need for them so they can put in extra damage. For the second Maneater, who is the slow one, his speed is 214. Again, by the time you put these 2 speed artifacts together, you hit about 215, which is the required speed right there. So that's what I used to complete it. Crit rate is high. Crit damage is about 200%, which is better than the other one. Accuracy, HP and defense is also alright. The same counter attack mastery 3. That's the way to go. So remember, the best thing you're looking for is the speed. After that, you can do whatever you want with your stats, but crit rate and crit damage will help a lot. So now, should I really show you the build for these other champions? I don't think so, but I'll show you their speeds though, so you can see that 175, because it does require 173 to 178. So Vizier is 175. I wasn't looking for that. Crit rate is kind of low though, but it do has high crit damage. I need to rebuild this one because he is kind of being used maybe some Doom Tower content sometimes. So I'll need to revisit his build another time, but I didn't like rebuild him for this team. I was using him in my old Clan Boss team. Now Fane is the weak one here. I did try to push her crit damage a little bit higher because she is the main damage dealer. But if you can get her to 300 crit damage, fine. But if you can't, 200 is fine. Whatever you can do is fine. But I did give her HP and some defense so she doesn't die in the first run while I'm doing my setup. So that's kind of my Feign build right there. Also, you notice something about these builds now. I don't know if I did it in the first Maneaters. I did give them an artifact set that I would never use on anyone. This artifact set is called what? Fury. Yes, this is a Fury set, right? The set that adds damage as your HP goes down. Let me scroll down to read it again in case you don't know what Fury does. This is a set that a lot of people get and never use in the game. So I was like, when will I ever use this Fury? And when I was building it, I was like, it's time for me to use Fury. Of course, you can always go full crit damage. You can always go, it's fine. But I decided to finally put Fury to the test. And check out, even my Skull Crusher, who used to be in a lifesteal, I put him in Fury sets. So you can see even their gear is not yet maxed. Because I was like, they're already doing 2 key. Why do I need to spend silver to max out this gear? It's better to save my silver for more important champions that are not yet doing what they are supposed to do. So that's why I'm not maxing this one out anytime soon. Even the defense, Skull Crusher doesn't need defense. Come on, he's an unkillable team. See, level 8. All right, I was trying to explain why I decided to go Fury. 4 artifacts per set. Damage increases as HP decreases. So when the clan boss hits us, I do sometimes see yellow numbers coming back at him, you know, just like a Brogni or just like a what do you call this guy? I always forget his name. Geomancer's hit. I do see it coming back from us to him for reducing our HP. So that's what Fury does. If you do not know, sometimes if you have good sets for it, take a look, use it. So Feign is in a Fury set. It's not the best, I know, but it's a set that I would never use on anybody else, and it did get me the stats required. So I was like, why not save my other artifacts for somebody else who deserves it, that is not a clan boss champion. I'm not hating on these champions that I use for clan boss. I just feel like they don't deserve the best of my artifacts, because you agree with me that you farm a lot of the dragon to get those artifacts. You shouldn't need to put it on champions that will just do a particular role the entire game. You need it on champions who will beat more challenging content. And more challenging content, I'm talking about Doom Tower, hard. So that's where I needed all the best stats right now, and I'm currently building champions for it. Okay, that's Feign. Is there any other champion I've not shown? One more. What's his name? Skull Crusher. There's no need for me to show you this. This is a trash build, but this build will be taken over by what's his name now? Farrakhan the Fat. Remember the champions, these 3, I'll say it again, it's not the best ones. You can use Farrakhan the Fat, you can use Geomancer, you can even use, well, not Brogni. There are a lot of champions that can come in here and do work. Longbeard, a lot of options, as long as they can put in that damage. The best one I think everybody uses is Ninja. He does have a tummy tap boost though, which is kind of, you know, makes things a little bit wonky here. But good luck with tuning that one into this team. But Ninja is one that goes crazy. So head over to the Deadwood Jedi. Maybe you find a comp that has Ninja in a double Maneater team that you can use. Again, I didn't want to lock my Ninja into this clan boss. I wanted him to be free to have different builds, to have different type of gear, to have high HP, high accuracy, high speeds, faster than clan boss speeds. So currently he's working in Doom Tower for me. I didn't want to use him in clan boss. All right, that's my double Maneater team. Again, I decided to make this video. I know it's a little bit long one, but I have now moved from a killable team to a budget team to now to a double Maneater team. So you can see on my channel the progression where I was using Skull Crusher, Sepulchre Sentinel, Sandler Survivor as my team for the Ultra Nightmare, 3 key, sometimes 2 key, and finally I moved to a budget and killable team. I also have that video out there on the channel, so I decided to put this one out there also so you can see my final, well, not final, my first time building a double Maneater team. I was gonna wait till I max their gear, get maybe 1 key before I did this video, but no, I decided to show you the process, the progression of me building them doing minimum damage 2 key before finally one day, if I feel like it, I might make a new team that can do 1 key with still double Maneater. like this. So for now, I'm focusing on Doom Tower hard and trying to beat all that content and at the best times possible, not just beat it, farm also those bosses efficiently. All right, that has been this video. Remember, you can jump onto the Discord and ask any questions you have about these teams. Double Maneater teams are easy to build. You don't always have to go for those high speed ones if you cannot afford the speed requirements, or if the speed requirements are stealing from all your other champions. Build a simple one like this, trash gear, trash artifacts, and you can still do 2 key. Even if it's 3 key, it's fine. All right, hit that like button if this video helps you. If you do have any questions, drop it below, I'll answer you. My name is Rick5D, and this has been my double Maneater trash comp that still do 2 key, Ultra Nightmare, and Brutal. I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.